Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum dear students. I am Mr. Kadim Khan and I am a lecturer in the Institute of Computing, Guwahati University of Science and Technology. Today we will take lecture number 17 of the subject of Object-Oriented Analysis and Design, in which we will discuss association, aggregation and composition in Java. Dear student, these are different sort of the relations among the classes. Here we will use a Java examples to explain these relations. This is the discussion agenda. It contains the topics of association. Then we have the association in UML and also with Java examples. Then we will explain aggregation in UML with the Java example, and also we will explain the composition, and also the composition will be explained with the help of the UML and Java examples. Now before starting these topics, let us discuss that association is a superset of aggregation and composition, while composition and aggregations are the subsets of the association. So it means that association is very much stronger than aggregation and compositions. So this diagram shows that associations is in fact more important, and it is an important element of the programming than aggregation and composition. But aggregation and composition is also very much used. Now first we will start the association. Association in Java is a certain relations between two classes which establishes through their objects. When we declares the objects, then the association relation is established between two classes. For example, if we have two classes, class A and class B, and when we establishes the object of class A in the class B, or in the of the class B into the class A, then the association relation is established. Association can be one-to-one. One-to-one means then one object can be accessed with the another class, and again another class object can be accessed here. Or one-to-many. One-to-many means that many objects can be accessed or can be instantiated into one class. Or many-to-one. Many-to-one means that many objects can be instantiated into one class. Or many-to-many means many objects can be instantiated into many other classes. Then these are multiplicities of the associations. So in object-oriented programming languages like Java and C++ and other languages, an object communicates to other objects to use the functionality and services provided by that object. So when we instantiate the objects in another class, that means that the other class objects, functionalities and services, that is the informations and functions, can be accessed into another class. Composition and aggregations are two forms of associations. So already in the previous example diagram we have seen that composition and aggregations are the subsets of the associations. Now this is the diagrammatical representation of the associations. Two separate classes here, one is the bank class and another one is the employee class, are associated with each other through their objects. Now banks have many employees. That means that we have created here three different objects. So it means that there is one-to-many relationship between bank and the employee class. So it is called an association, and this can be done through declaring the objects of these classes within each other. Now we will see this example with the help of the Java code. First we have declared a library import java.io.starix. This is used for the input-output purpose. Then we have declare a class public, Here is a private string name variable. It is the constructor of this class. Bank string name this dot name is equal to name. This constructor in fact takes the string name in the parameter. It means that when this constructor is called through the objects, it means that it will take the parameter of the name. So this is the parameterized constructor. Then we have the public string get bank name. This is a functions or a method of the return type strings and access specifier public, and it will return the strings, that is the name strings. So it will in fact return this strings which has been passed in the constructor. Then we have created another class employee private string name employee string name. This is a constructor of this employee class. It is also a parameterized constructor. String name this dot name is equal to name. Then we have public string get employee name this return this dot name. It will return the strings of this constructor. So return this dot name. It will assign here a string. Now we will also declare another class which will associate bank and employees class with each other. So here we have declared the class association. Association is a class where we will associate these two classes with each other. Now we have public stated void string args function. This is the void function from where the program execution will be started here. Now bank is equal to new bank state bank. This is the object instantiation. Bank is the object of the bank account, and here in this constructor we have passed the name of the bank as a string. Now another object has been created of the employee class. Employee imp is equal to new employee, and here we have passed the name of the employee as a string. Ahmed is the name of the employee. System.out.println emp.get employee name. It will return the employee name plus is the employee of bank.get bank name, and it will return the bank name. Now here we have associated these classes with each other. This is the binary association. Now output will be Ahmed is the employee of the state bank, because here this function will return the employee name and this function is returning the bank name. So this is the binary association between these two classes, and through these two classes we are in fact sharing the information and the services or functionalities. Another sort of the relationship is called aggregations. Now aggregation is a subset of the association. It is also one of the association, but it represents the has a relation. Has a relation means that when one thing is the part of the another thing, then the has a relation is established. For example, we can say that car has a wheel. So that means wheels are the part of the car. So this is the aggregation relations in the programming languages. Aggregation means that it is a subset or it is a collection. So has a relation represents a collection. Like bicycle has a vehicle. So that means vehicle is the part of the bicycle. It is a unidirectional association, while association is the bidirectional. Unidirectional means that only one communication is established through one-sided. It is one-sided communication. That means that it is one-way relationships. For example, department can have students, but vice versa is not possible. That means that students cannot have the departments or multiple departments. It is not possible. For example, we can say that says that wheel has a car. It is not possible. We will say that car has a wheel. So that's why it is unidirectional in nature. Now in aggregation both entries can survive individually, while in association it was not possible. So which means that ending one entity will not affect the other entity. So for example, we can say that car has a wheel. When wheels is destroyed, then it will not affect the car. Now this is the diagrammatical representations of the associations. Now, for example, we have the college class and we have the teacher class, and also we have the student class. So we can say that college has a student. Also we can say that college has a teacher. By reading the association, we will start from here and then we will go to the another class. So we can say that college has a teacher. Now we will implement this examples here in Java. Class address. Address is our class. String street name, string city, string state, string country. And address is the constructor. It is the parameterized constructor. Int string street, string c, string st, string count. And this dot string is equal to street, and this dot city is equal to c, and this dot state is equal to st, and this dot country is equal to count. So that means it creates a parameterized constructor. When we will pass this set of the information in the object creation, then these values will be copied here. Now we will create another class students. Int roll number, string student name, and here we are creating the has a relationship with the address class. We have address class here with the constructors. So student class is a constructor here, student class. So int roll number, int string name, address addr. Address is a addr is the address here. Now you can see here that address is in fact the object here. So this dot roll number, this dot student name, and this dot student address is equal to addr. So student address is in fact here you can see that this is another object, student address, and an object is assigned to the another object. So this will create the has a relations. This is the public stated void main function. Again here we have called the constructor of the address class 55, Kuwait, KP, Pakistan. Here we have provided the set of the attributes or the parameters in the parameterized constructor. Now student class, obj new student class, this is the also a parameterized constructor of the students class 123 KUST, ed. Now ed is the object of the address class. Here we have passed this object ed in the parameters of the student class. So this will create the has a relation. Now system.out.println obj.roll number, system.obj.student name, obj.student address dot street num. So here student address dot street number. Now this statements will go into the previous class student address, and street number is the parameter name. This is the object name, this is the parameter name. So here it will access another object through the parameters, and similarly student address is the object name dot city is the parameter, while city was declared in the previous classes. Obj.student address dot state and similarly country, these are declared in the student address class. The output will be 123 KUST 55 Kuwait KP Pakistan. So 123 will be accessed in the student class, KUST will be accessed also in the students class, and this object will in fact access all these parameters. So 55 Quad, KPK and Pakistan will be accessed through this parameter, which is in fact the object AD of the address class. So this will print the information first of these two information, then it will access this class, or it will communicate to this class, and then it will access or print these parameters. Now the third one relation is called composition in Java. Composition is the strong form of the association. That means that it is in fact a subset of the association, and if an object owns another object and another object cannot exist without the owner object, then the composition relation is established. That means that when one object is existing and the another object is not existing and they have the composition relations, then the first object will not be workable. It is, for example, consider the case of human being. When a human heart, which is heart is the part of the human body, but here human object cannot, human object contains the hearts, and the hearts cannot exist without the body. So for example, if we eliminate or delete the body, then the heart will not be functionable. So that's why this is very strong form of the association. So composition is a belong to relations. Unlike the aggregation is the has a relation. It is called belongs to relations types of the UML. So it means that when one object's logically larger structure which contains the other objects, so in other words, it is the part or the members of that object. So we call it has a relationships as opposed to an is a relationship which is in inheritance. So alternative, we can often we call it has a relation as well. For example, we can say that human body has a heart, but unlike the aggregations, human body or heart cannot be existing without the human body. So that's why it is much strong form of the aggregation. It is also a has a relation, but it is not is a relation, which is the inheritance. Now these are different these are the symbol used for the compositions. The diamond symbols, which is a filled diamond symbol, is used. The diamond is a symbol is containing the object, and the base of the line not in an arrowed line. There you can see it is not in the arrowed line. For the sake of clarity, we often draw the arrowhead too. Sometimes we also draw the arrowhead too, but it is not necessary. The standard form of this symbol is like this one, that we will use the filled diamond symbols and the straight association symbols like container class and member class. For example, buildings contains the rooms. We can say that building has a rooms, but we cannot, the rooms cannot be survive without the building. If there is no building, there will be no rooms. This is the example of the compositions in Java. You can see that this is the class date class, private int day, private int month, private int year. These are three different parameters of the date class. Then we have the date constructor int dd, int m, int yy. System.out.println construction of date class is called. It will, when the object of the date class will be created, it will call the constructor. Day is equal to d, month is equal to m, and year is equal to yy. Public strings, two strings, return day plus concatenation of the slash plus month plus concatenation of the slash plus year, and year will be concatenated. So this is the concatenation, and it will in fact convert the integer into the string. Then we have the class employee private int id, private string name, private date, hire date, objects of the hire date, employee int name, string and date hire. So this is the constructor here. Similarly, as like this constructor, we have constructor of the employee class is called id is equal to num, name is equal to n, hire date is equal to hire, public void display system.out.println, id is equal to id, system.out.println, name is equal to name, and system.out.println, hire date is equal to hire date. So here we have in fact declare functions or defined functions here where it will display all sort of these informations with the concatenation operator. Now this is another class, public class composition. This class will perform the composition relationship between the date and the employee class. Here we have declare or we have instantiated the object of the new date and passed different parameters 01, 01, 2000. New employee 1, M Danish, D. Here we have passed this D, that is the objects, to this in the parameter list of the employee constructor, while D is the object. Now im.display, here we will use the im.display. So it will return the output that constructor of date class is called. You can see that when we have called the display function of the employee through the employee object, so it will also call the constructor of the data class, and also it will call the constructor of the employee class, and output will be id1 m Danish and hire date is equal to 1, 1, 2000. Now here you can see that 1 is a parameter in the employee class and name is also parameter in the employee class, but D is the parameters, or it is the parameterized constructor of the date class. So that's why here it will display also the hire date. Well, you can see that the hire date is in fact is called here. It is in fact implemented here. So the hire date constructor will be called here. So hire date is equal to 1, 1, 2011. Dear student, this is the end of the today's class. You can study these two books for the further readings. Also, if you have any question, you can drop an email to my ID. My email is m.kadeem@kust.edu.pk. I will wait for your questions. And also you can send your assignments and another mid exams etc. at this ID. Thank you very much.